You will be shocked by the 2024 Nvidia stock predictions if you watch the entire video. There are companies that are essentially a steel vault, and anything you learn about Nvidia in the last few weeks has been made up. For example, the company's market value starts the day at around $2.50 trillion, a lot less than it was before. But now that we know that the percent gain was completely fraudulent, it's like, no, it did have $1 trillion almost lopped off. The market cap took a hit, the multiple got up there, right? But remember, this is always in a molt. You have to think about this, as a previous mot, like you realized that the company was selling in 17 times here. And there's been this argument, it gets back to the larger one, that at some point they're going to hit a wall, or at some point, the spending will hit a wall, not in 2025, certainly not this year, what's left of it, but perhaps in 26 or 27, where the hyperscalers, they're done, yeah. But you know, and what that mean, you do a discounted cash valuation of this company, and are you willing to pay the multiple? And that certainly seems to have circulated. Some of that, you're right, affected the stock. I want to ban the term hyperscale at this point, cause no one ever understood. It's like yen character, what the hell is, you know what, you're right, it's like, what is, who made that one up, the hyperscaler? You did know. But here's what I see, what should we call them? Well, I like tech titans, which is what they call a network. What about just massive corporations that consume the planet? The reason Meta had a great quarter was because he figured out how to use Meta AI. I don't know if you're using Meta AI, but I've switched completely to it. I no longer use Chat, Gemini, Club, or anything else on Bond. I love it. It's oh my god, it's so great. It's so much better than the other companies. I like that it's kind of like Stephen King, like Planet Eaters, that one. Alright, the P's already taken. It's coherent, but there's no appeal. No like, wait, what platform do you use it on? In other words, what are you going to use? I type in Meta AI, and it's pretty interesting. It's like typing in Google, and it comes up. It's really easy. They have 3 ads that you have to deal with, which you just ignore. And then you're like, compare the Roth IRA versus a traditional IRA, please. It's so concise and excellent, and I can pull $1 million. By the way, that's why I always say, I could be your eye if you want. What was the question C asked? I don't know, come like, where's David Faber's daughter going to college? Oh, she chose certain, she looked at 4 schools and he said this no. Meaning, what am I supposed to do? How do I demonstrate prowess? Now that I have control of the board, I'm just going to return to your favorite Nvidia, because the stock is up 2 and 12%, which is what they do with these daily options. I believe that company had a good quarter, but we have no idea, okay. When I say Alphabet, no idea, I mean that they lose this case, which I've worked on a lot with Apple. Have you ever noticed how the kids complete their daily options, lineup, and DraftKings? Is there anything different every day? Yes, DraftKings is more rigorous, but that's a crucial aspect of the stock market's gamification. No younger people are involved when I speak though, because this past weekend I was at a fantastic wedding for my friend Rob Brad's son, and I constantly ask people what's going on, and the younger people are doing zero options on Nvidia, and on whatever is just the hot stock of the day. Instead of asking if anyone had invested, nobody did, but it doesn't matter because Monica and Michael had a fantastic wedding, but there was no real substance to anyone's trading. Yeah, it might as well have been daily fantasy, and we've been going that way for a long time. I mean, the average investor in mutual funds continues to decline, I think, but we should point out that Qualcomm is down 6 because of rumors that Apple is integrating more correctly, and may not need. Qualcomm apps been trying to integrate for ages, hasn't really worked. Broadcom should not be down unless you think that there is other, because again, data center, if you think data center's bad, because he has made several, including buying more of one of today's leaders, and that is Nvidia, probably the reason in and of itself, while tech is one of the only 2 sectors in the green today. Why you add to this, if you remember, we did trim Nvidia back at 130, and I jumped the gun last time I was there on set with you, and we had that post-Fed rally, and started buying back some Nvidia 115 area. So when we saw that move last week, I really do think that there was some capitulation. We saw the unwinding tech, everybody's covered it over and over again, but I think that spike in volatility really lays the great groundwork to see a low that could really rally here in the coming weeks and into Nvidia's earnings report. So I think the setup here is really well. I know Josh has talked about the gap going back to May in the 90s for Nvidia, and that pinged it last Monday. So after achieving that gap, looking at my high expectations for this earnings report and the good technical setup here, I had to buy some more Nvidia top-off positions in portfolios when we were trading around $100 to finish out the week. Bren, you got Nvidia, obviously. I think our viewers know that by now very well but what about buying more here in what's been a reasonably unsettled stock? Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, I think last week, I had closed out all of my covered call positions in Nvidia. I agreed with Bill. I think it got washed out. I have a really nice position in here in Nvidia, so I don't need to add here, but I really like the price action of Nvidia going into earnings at the end of the month, because there is a lot of concern. There's been some technical damage, and I feel pretty confident that Jensen's going to come out and deliver it, because Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Sar across the board, I've all told us, are by Elon Musk all of their chips, and so I think it's going to be a great number. I think that's a really good ad at these levels, because I think at the end of the month we start seasonally long positive quarter for the market. I like Nvidia here, at 109 going into earnings. Welcome back to the exchange. Nvidia shares are up nearly 5% today, and more than 9% despite last week's sell-off, while the volatility left some investors wary of the big AI name. Our next guest saw the dip as a buying opportunity, upping his stake big time. Let's Brent so once about the company's prospects. Gan Ives. Investors are undoubtedly keeping a close eye on the US-China tech battle. Undoubtedly, the limitations on exporting sophisticated semiconductors to China have an effect, but the demand is worldwide, in my opinion. Despite the size of the Chinese market, Nvidia and other businesses are seeing enormous development potential in the United States, Europe, and other Asian countries. Governments, businesses, and sectors worldwide are now driving demand for AI and semiconductors, so it's no longer just about one area. It's also critical to keep in mind that tech businesses are experts at negotiating these geopolitical challenges. They will look for methods to reduce risks, such as expanding into new markets or diversifying supply chains. Although there is conflict between the US and China, I don't think it will stop the larger expansion of AI. However, it's definitely something to watch as 2024 approaches, particularly in light of political actions that may tighten or loosen trade restrictions. Host. Gil, I want to know what you think about this. Is Nvidia's future more at risk from the US-China situation than we're recognizing? Gil Luria. Although there is a considerable danger, I concur with Dan that Nvidia's development is not entirely reliant on China. Crucially though, China has been a significant purchaser of expensive GPUs, particularly for AI applications, and interruptions could result from cutting off that supply. The speed at which Nvidia and other American computer firms can change their supply chains and expand their clientele will determine the longer-term effects. In order to lessen its reliance on American technology, China is likewise making great efforts to establish its own semiconductor sector. That is a long-term strategic risk, since Nvidia may encounter greater regional rivalry in the second-largest economy in the world if they are successful in producing competitive chips domestically. However, that is still several years away. Although Nvidia's diversification initiatives should lessen the impact for the time being, it is undeniable that the stock is more uncertain due to US-China tensions. Host. In reference to worldwide demand, Dan, you brought up Apple's iPhone Super Psych.